Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a quiet struggle that pretty much everyone faces at some point, the idea of living your way into purpose. Let's get right into it.
So picture this. You're sitting at a desk. In front of you is a completely blank piece of paper. You've got all the time in the world. Literally no one is telling you what to write, and suddenly it hits you. You have absolutely no idea what you want to say. You know, most people think failing is the most terrifying thing in life, but it's really not. It's this quiet terror, the paralyzing feeling of just not knowing why you're here. If you've ever felt that low-grade hum of something being missing, that annoying feeling that shadows you even on perfectly good days, I want you to hear this. You aren't failing at life. You are likely just stuck in a fundamentally flawed concept of what purpose actually is.
Because the way we've been taught to search for purpose, it's exactly why most of us feel so incredibly stuck. We've all been sold this beautifully packaged, pervasive lie: find your passion, right? We hear it everywhere: self-help books, endlessly repetitive graduation speeches, dinner parties, you name it. We're told that purpose is this glowing, fully formed thing buried out there in the real world. And if we just take the right personality test or dig hard enough, we're going to magically find it.
But here's the thing. When you believe purpose is something you just find, you end up waiting for it. You scan your messy, uncertain life, looking for some grand cinematic signal. You compare your behind the scenes to everyone else's curated highlight reel, and when you come up empty, you just assume you're broken. So the crucial point is, absolutely nothing is wrong with you. The model is wrong. You haven't missed your calling. You've just been handed a really bad map.
And this isn't just nice-sounding theory, it's backed up by decades of actual research. Psychologist William Damon over at Stanford looked deeply into this and found that purpose isn't a sudden lightning bolt. It develops slowly. You try a few different things, you notice what matters, you adjust, and you do a bit more of it. Your direction becomes clearer through curious movement. The folks out there with the strongest sense of purpose didn't magically figure it out on day one. They just stayed curious and paid close attention to whatever kept pulling them back.
Which brings us to a massive cultural misunderstanding. You've probably seen that famous four-circle Venn diagram for Ikigai, finding the exact center of what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what pays you. It gets pitched all the time as the ultimate career framework, but it completely misrepresents the original concept. In Okinawa, where Ikigai comes from, it was never about some high-pressure grand life calling. It was super grounded, small scale. It was about enjoying your morning coffee, or tending to a garden, or just having a decent conversation with a neighbor. This whole Western version is a high-achieving overlay strapped onto a concept that was never meant to carry that much weight.
So shifting away from those maximalist, world-changing expectations is really your very first step toward actual fulfillment. You don't need to find a calling that changes the world. You just need to find a life that feels like yours. That's it. You can completely let go of the immense pressure to save the planet right this second and just focus on what resonates with you on a daily manageable level. To pull that off, we need a massive reframe. We need to stop obsessing over finding a map and start using a compass. Think about it. A map assumes you already know your exact destination. And let's be totally honest, most of us don't have a clue. A compass, though, it just tells you which way is north. It provides a direction. You can orient your entire life from that, even if you have no idea where you're ultimately going to end up. So how do you actually build your compass? Well, it's made up of 3 practical questions.
Here's the first compass question. What problems make you angry enough to want to fix them? We're always asking people what they're passionate about, but actually, scratch that. Passion is fleeting. It's unstable. Anger at injustice or frustration at wild inefficiency, now that is durable. It's incredibly reliable. It's something you're still going to care deeply about even on your absolute worst, lowest energy days.
Once you've zeroed in on what makes you angry, ask yourself the exact opposite. What would you do more of if you knew you couldn't fail? Look, you probably will fail at some point, and that is completely fine. But answering this helps you isolate what genuinely pulls at your attention when you take that paralyzing fear of failure out of the equation. It strips away the anxiety and lets your true interests actually breathe.
And here's the final piece of your compass. What were you doing the last time you completely lost track of time? And no, I don't mean zombie scrolling on your phone. We've all been there, that doesn't count. I mean being so intensely absorbed, so competent, and slightly in awe of what you're doing that the hours just magically vanish. Psychologists call this state flow, and it is an incredibly powerful signal. It points you in a very real, tangible direction. You don't even need all three of these compass points to perfectly align. You literally just need them to give you a general direction so you can start walking.
But even with a brand new compass in hand, there is a massive trap we all fall right into. We tell ourselves, I'll figure out my purpose when things settle down. You know the drill. When the debt is paid off, when the kids are a bit older, when work isn't so crazy. This is the most common version of the blank page problem. We convince ourselves that we just aren't quite ready to start to search yet. Psychologists actually have a clinical name for this trap. It's called temporal self-appraisal. It's this weird tendency to believe that our future self will somehow be way more capable, way more confident, and vastly more ready than our current self. But I've got to brutally remind you here, your future self is not a different person. They are the exact same person, just with a little less time left on the clock. Readiness isn't some prerequisite you wait around for. Readiness is just a byproduct of beginning. So how do we actually begin? Easy. We throw away the massive, intimidating blueprint and we just focus on the steps right in front of us. Step 1. Find one small true thing that matters to you. Not to your resume, not to your parents, but to you. Step 2. Do that thing, and then do it again. Step 3. Do a slightly bigger version of it. You are building your purpose, brick by slow, beautifully unglamorous brick. Those people you admire who seem to have found their purpose, they didn't find it, they built it over years of small, consistent actions that pointed in a direction they cared about.
Which brings us all the way back full circle to our opening image. The blank page was never the problem. The blank page is the point. We have to reframe it. It's not a source of terror at all. It's an open, beautiful space where nothing has been ruled out yet. It means the whole shebang is still possible. The people who end up filling their pages don't know the entire story before they pick up the pen. They just write something down and see exactly where the true sentences lead them.
Because the absolute truth is this: you don't find your purpose, you live your way into it. You aren't behind. You're not missing some magical secret that everyone else was let in on. You just need to write one true sentence, take one small step, and see where it goes. Purpose is being built right now, in the very things you consistently choose to keep showing up for.
So I want to leave you with a final provocative thought to chew on. What is the one small, true thing you can do this week that points somewhere that actually matters to you? I challenge you to answer that for yourself today. Stop waiting around for the map. Grab your compass, lay down your very first unglamorous brick, and start living your way into your purpose. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.